Hello, planet. It is I, Another BT, here once again doing a new meta update video. Ooh, it has been a hot minute since the last one, but it's officially been about, by the time of the recording this, about almost 2.5 weeks out from the previous ban list drop. Yay! And it was a very impactful ban list, and I must say, the current format is looking horrific. Actually, it's actually looking pretty cool. But it will probably annoy some people and it will probably make others happy. Now, before we get into the showing of the listing, I just want to clarify that all of my results for the playability of decks comes from tournament top deck lists that are posted on Twitter by official tournament stores over in Japan. I do have a set limit of how many participants must be in there, so though it may not be one-to-one accurate too much, it does give a very close representation of what are the most effective strategies and what are you going to most likely be playing against. Anyways, let's lo and behold, I was about to say banlist, the meta. Yep, if you can already tell, you Yuki boomers out there are really gonna love this format. So, if you guys don't know, previously we did actually come out of Solitaire format, which got heavily hit with the hit of Cat Trios, though it kind of lives. But yes, as most of you all can tell, this is very different from what you can be expecting. So after the last 2.5 weeks, the results for the top deck list I've gained was from 40 decks, 9 representations from Blue Eyes, 9 from Red Eyes, 7 from Harpy, 7 from Dragonic, 3 from Dark Spellcaster, which would also be Dark Magician in some cases, 2 from Light and Dark Galaxy, uh, 2 from Secret Investigator, 1 Royal Rebel, 1 Celeb Rose, and 1 Gaia, which are in the miscellaneous category. Woo, yay! So of course I am going to be going over a few little notable reasons of why these decks are really making a big comeback, though most people don't really know. So first off, Blue Eyes, yay! Blue Eyes is pretty obvious of why. If most of you don't know, the OCG just recently released not too long ago their I would say proper structure deck. They're Blue Eyes White Dragon structure deck, and it has a lot of playable cards in it. And that is not a joke. So, of course, when you have a really good structure deck with a lot of powerful cards, people will immediately go towards it. You can easily pick up 3 of these, it's already competitively viable. So that's more likely the reason why it has a higher representation than most of these other decks, which allows it to get more wins. But at the same time, it's not that bad, especially after we got one of the more recent support cards, which would be Engine of Destruction, a sort of Rhoda of Rush Duel. Adding back any level 8 light attribute dragon from the grave to hand, and it gives you a little bonus effect. A very good consistency card that definitely showed a lot more use afterwards. It was released, it came out from a different set that was not the structure deck, I believe. And along with that, they do also have some pretty good extenders in there. One of the main cards that kind of put them on a different level than most others is Soul Drake, effectively a free monster born for any level 8 dragon you might have in grave. With so many different tech cards other than this, the deck is really powerful and has a lot of recovery, has a lot of ways to clear the board, get through a lot of very weird situations, though, of course, it's not going to be tier 0. It's just going to be highly represented because it's very affordable, it's very playable, and there's currently not really a solid deck right now that can realistically push it all the way back. But you will be seeing this a lot more, though if you're playing mostly online, you might not see it that often. But definitely online play or IRL play, this is going to see a lot. So, of course, next to that, we do have the other representation, the 9 Red Eyes. Ooh. So, most of you guys might be wondering, why Red Eyes? Well, I'm going to be honest, I thought the same too. Lo and behold, the Red Eyes card series actually is not that bad. It's printed out really well. So basically, if you don't know, the most recent, not the most recent, the most recent version of Wave support for Red Eyes actually came out with a sort of retrain of a lot of monsters, including Meteor Dragon. In this case, it is Meteor Drake. This is a prime example why this deck is widely played and why it's so good. So basically, the entire idea behind Red Eyes being good is that the deck has so many +1s, it has so many extenders, it has so many ways to dig through your deck to your combo cards, to your win conditions, all of your tech cards. Meteor Drake being one of them, and is heavily supported in the deck. By heavily supported, I mean by several different cards, such as Meteor Dragon's Chick, which can add back Meteor Drake, which is really good, along with a card like Rocket Satellite Medic, which once again gets back Meteor Drake, gets back Meteor Dragon, Meteor Flare Fusion, meaning that you get back more materials, which is pretty good. It's very powerful, and especially with a very decent fusion spell like Meteor Flare Fusion, it makes things so much easier, and you have a wide selection of fusion monsters to pick from, including a Summon Skull monster that nukes the board, your big old bosses, monsters with self-protection. Red Eyes just has this entire toolbox of really powerful fusion monsters and an entire collection of cards that all go +1 or just have very consistent effects, which, you know, more people are getting into it, more people are realizing, wow, this is a very fast-paced deck, it can really keep up. If you guys think something like Secret Investigator, you would know that going +1, having a bunch of extenders is really good. And Red Eyes is now kind of sitting in that weird, or sitting on that higher rated space where it's becoming a combo deck and it's really pretty good. Though, of course, the main issue, the boss monsters, they're good, but they're not incredibly broken, but still, the deck is consistent enough to get enough wins for most games. After that, we have Harpy Lady. Yay! In this case, you see her thighs and chest, and I could not readjust that. Anyways, of course, Harpy Lady survived. Yeah, it was actually unaffected by the most recent ban list, besides the banning of Barrier Statue, with most Harpy Lady decks did play. They weren't really hit at all. So of course they came into the new format swinging, though of course everyone was testing new decks, new format, everything. So there wasn't as many tops as there would normally be, but I would definitely say Harpies can be the most common deck you'll probably see in competitive, right besides Blue Eyes in terms of playability and just being a very powerful deck. Especially in the most recent set, they gotten a lot more power cards. The main card to point out is Harpy Lady's Pet Dragon. Whoa! This is an incredibly good card. It was somewhat grazed by because the set had a lot of good cards in it. This is definitely very powerful. It's basically just, okay, you normal summon it, it becomes Harpy Lady after the effect, and if you control 3 Harpy Ladies and or sisters, then you can pop a card. You can pop any monster on the field, no level restriction, just destroy a monster. That's pretty good. And it being level 4 means they can bring you back with Legend Strike, and you're already playing Legend Magician, so you have this whole entire engine of getting in the grave. You can easily bring it back. It gives you so much free advantage of just being able to clear out your opponent's board, allowing you to poke more directly. So like 3 monsters isn't going to be a problem, big beaters not going to be a problem. Though if something does have self-protection or effect protection, you do have other cards in your deck to affect it. Along with that is another good card that actually came out with Pet Dragon, which is Splendid Slash. Ooh. Pretty much it supports their control strategy. You know, when a Harpy dies, place a card on the opponent's field onto the bottom of the deck. Whoa. I'm saying that very lackluster wise, but that is an incredibly powerful effect for a very low cost, low maintenance cost. Now, of course, like most people are playing 3 of this, or they're playing 2 of it. It's not the main idea. Like the Harpy Pet Dragon or Dragon is definitely much better, but this card alone makes it an even stronger control deck. A non-destruction removal effect that doesn't even return to top deck or the hand is amazing. This completely just wipes out anything during your opponent's turn, and it is really powerful. Yeah, Harpies already still have their original toolbox kit of all their really good cards, plus these 2 new cards, of course are going to be in play. You got Triangle, which completely knocks out all trap cards for the turn. You have a bunch of Lady sisters with self-protection from traps and monster effects. You have a bunch of extenders, a very good number of cards that treat themselves on a Harpy Lady. You have a Soul Charge. The deck's just got everything. If it wasn't for the Blue Eye Structure deck existing, definitely I would see Harpy Lady probably taking up majority of this listing. Anyhows, the next one, which is Dragonic. Whoa! Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think anyone saw this coming. Not even I. Why? Because we've had this support for a good amount of time, but it actually has not seen the light of day since its release, which is, I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of surprising. Like, it's a really, really good support. So, of course, in which I mean that support is the retrains and support cards for Dragonic Slayer, which is the first one, Dragonic Demolisher. Definitely a main staple in these Dragonic decks. It's effectively a monster pop. That is it. It reborns your MST dragon, and it pops a monster. It's really strong. It's a really good card, but it just reborning Dragonic Slayer and popping a monster is not the only reason it's pretty good. You have Dragonic Scout. What does it do? Adds back a dragon, or sorry, adds back a level 7 Earth Dragon, which once again, kind of a freebie. It sets up Dragonic Slayer, makes him extremely consistent. You just need to mill him, you add back Dragonic Slayer, and then suddenly you have a free guaranteed pop, which definitely was a big problem for Dragonic Slayer at the time of you not having another high level monster. Not only that, we also have Dragonic Force. Basically just summons back Dragonic Slayer, and your opponent can activate trap cards when a monster attacks. It's pretty good. So when you're facing a format where Mirror Force, Negate Attack, and Magic Cylinder exist, this is pretty nice. It's not as good as the Triangle spell for Harpies, but it is still a very good card. Up next, we have, with 2 representations, Dark Magician, or Solitaire for most, or I guess Dark Spellcaster in this case. It is a little bit different now, I must say, actually. It's not really like your traditional Dark, or traditional Solitaire deck. In fact, it actually does focus on a large number of Spellcaster type monsters, specifically some are Dark, though you do have a few engine pieces here and there. So effectively what the main difference with this deck is because one of the newer monsters, which is Dark Executor Warlock. Whoa! With the effect of shuffling back 10 spell cards from graveyard in the deck, and then destroy a monster. That's an optional effect. Which, this does actually let the deck exist. Why is that? Because a lot of the spell cards that you originally played for Solitaire were all mill spells, and what was so great about that was you had Catrios, which would mill the deck, add anything from grave to hand. Effectively, what this does is it constantly refills your deck, which means your deck will eventually be empty of monsters. Every turn you just draw back your powerful spells, you won't see any monsters, though you do play still a large sum of monsters still. And of course, what I mean by support spells, which would summon it, we have cards like Resolve, Mill 3, Summon, Big Beat 6, so you're still playing Obsidian, you're playing Warlock, so you have your 2500 beaters there. Sometimes you're playing Dark Magician, that's not every time. Jewel of the Dark Magician, summon out a 2500 beat stick, and people are actually unironically playing Dark Magician Girl now. Now that you don't have to worry about any Catrios bothering you, Jewel of the Dark Magician is now used for summoning Dark Magician Girl. It's so uncomfortable to see. Not only that, you still have your other old consistency cards now that you have more high statted spellcasters. Spell Extraction becomes even more consistent, allowing you to draw it back and get an extra card back, which means you're going to go, well, +0 in a sense, but you're not going to go -1. So yeah, it's actually looking a lot better, a lot healthier now that you're not seeing your opponent puke for about 5 minutes during their turn and eventually just end up OTKing or clearing your board repeatedly. Yeah, it's really nice. Woo! Next, after that, we have Secret Investigator. There's not much to realistically say about this. Secret Investigator really hasn't changed at all. It is still the very powerful combo deck that y'all would be able to remember. I don't remember the names off the top of my head. Mismatch, I believe. Normal summon, Excavate 3, add a light reptile, you have your mills, you have your cards that recover from grave to field, you have all of your extenders, you have Snake Princess Purity, who is an incredibly good card and has been seen a lot more as of late. Purity is such a good card. But yeah, there's nothing too different, though they are going to be getting support in the later set, which should be coming out some point next month. They will be getting a new boss monster and a new low level and an equip spell. Woo! So keep an eye out for that, and I don't think it's going to matter too much. But yeah, that is all the competitive decks as of right now. Anyways, let's see those legend monsters which are being played most of. Whoa. I'm gonna be honest, I can't even joke about this. Like it's so obvious what it is. Uh the top decks say what they are. Yeah. Of course, Blue Eyes and Red Eyes, they're gonna be played in Blue Eyes and Red Eyes. Dark Magician actually not in every deck, though still pretty good. So yeah, out of the 40 deck list, I've gotten about 30 confirmations of the Legend Monster. Of course, tied actually for first, and actually tied for first in general, was 9 representations from Blue Eyes and Red Eyes. Whoa! It's seriously no surprise. Like, guys, come on, you should have seen this coming. Like, if you're playing a format with Blue Eyes and Red Eyes, you're going to be playing Blue Eyes and Red Eyes. Though Blue Eyes does kind of mix between playing a Spellcaster engine and playing a pure Dragon engine, depending on, you know, if they want to play Legend Strike or not, or, you know, Soul Drake. It's very obvious. Like, these cards themselves, they're not very powerful. The thing about it is, like, you're playing them because of their decks. Like, okay, Blue Eyes is kind of mandatory if you want to get some of the additional effects, because there's only one monster in your deck, which kind of requires them. But yeah, that's what you have to get used to. If you see a format where a Legend Monsters deck is good, then they're gonna have to be playing. After that, we have 5 copies of Mirage Dragon. Woo! Anti-Battle Trap. That it's normal. This card's been on the meta list, though I'm kind of happy to see it pushed off a bit, but the fact that it was pushed off by 2 big vanillas is kind of what makes it surprising. Following up, 3 copies of Ryza. Whoa! Honestly, I would have kind of expected more. It's just the issue is a lot of the Harpy decks don't share their deck list, which is kind of upsetting, but yeah, Ryza is just a generally good card, stacking a card on top of the deck, especially in Harpy Lady. It's a winged beast, it can be recovered with winged beast related effects and such, and it's also a wind monster, which once again supports with Harpy Lady. But even outside of Harpy Lady, Ryza itself is just one of the stronger single tribute monsters in the game as of, or single tribute legends as of right now. Probably I would say around a little bit higher than Vanity's, but definitely way beyond most others. After that, we have 2 representations from Dark Magician. Of course, 2 out of 3 of the Dark Spellcaster decks are playing Dark Magician. Now, this is kind of the weird part of it, is that you want to play the Dark Spellcasters. What does this do? It gives you a third name to summon off Resolve or any of the other spells that require you a 2500 beat stick. But it's not always like that sometimes. If you want to control Dark Magician, you can activate Dark Magic Attack. You're not playing Thousand Knives, you're only playing Dark Magic Attack. Some people are actually playing Dark Resonance now, which gives you an attack boost if you control a Dark Magician Girl or Dark Magician, or gives you an additional if you control both, I believe. I don't remember the card at the top of my head. But it is a very optional legend as of right now, but if you want to play Dark Spellcaster, you don't need it. You definitely don't need it, but it's being played a bit. After that, we do have our single representations, Archfiend Soldier and Alien Shock Trooper. Whoa! Alien Shock Trooper, of course, that's being played in Secret Investigator. You're not realistically playing any other legend in the deck. Why? It's a 1900 vanilla beater. You summon it off Legend Strike, you add it with any effect that adds back a reptile. That's basically it. The deck doesn't really want any more weird different types in the deck because you just need consistency. And hey, 1900 beater? Sure. And then Archfiend Soldier, I suppose a Royal Rebel player just kind of got bored and didn't have a legend option. But yeah, when you don't have anything you want to add a beat stick. Anyway, guys, that is the Legend Monster Pool. Now let's move over The spells. What? Okay, I can't even be surprised. Listen, it's been like this since its release. It's Dark Hole, let's be honest. Let's be truthful here. It's never not going to be Dark Hole in the metals. Okay, let's get this through. Yeah, first foremost, yeah, 31 representations. Of course, Dark Hole won. We do have back and forth between, like, draw cards, destruction cards. Dark Hole is just still Dark Hole. It's pretty good. You play to any deck, you clear out boards. A lot of the combo decks are playing it, a lot of the control decks are playing it. It's just a good card. I can't say much more than that. Out of 31 representations, we have 9 representations of Dark Hole. 6 of them are for Graceful Charity, because, you know, consistency. 2 of them for Monster Reborn. I've seen those 2 decks, and actually, I'm honestly surprised not more people are playing Monster Reborn, and it's actually being really good right now. And then we have a representation for Polymerization and Hammershot. Why Hammershot? I don't know, and I'm afraid to ask in all reality. Believe it or not, it was a Dragonic player that was actually playing Hammershot. I know, crazy, right? Of course, as always, there's no realistic change in the legend slot for meta competitive play. And I say you're still going to be expecting to see this for the upcoming format and the format afterwards until we get a new legend spell that's really going to just impact the format in a great way, or in a big way, because competing against Graceful and Dark Hole is incredibly difficult. We've seen barely a few cards match up with it. Like, we had a few formats. Heavy Storm definitely made it up its way in the main deck, but nowadays people are just slide decking it. They're barely even siding it in. Monster Reborn has seen a couple of formats where it's been high and low, but as always, it's never realistically going to change as of right now until we get some new, more powerful cards, or Konami implements a limit sort of listing for legend cards, which includes Dark Hole. Until then, we'll see it. Anyways, on to the final part, which is the trap cards. Lo and behold, the trap cards are actually not really exactly as you think. Once again, trap cards remain as the most diverse category. Against spells, it's more diverse. Would you actually believe that we're currently still playing Magic Cylinder as the most represented card? Whoa, Battle Trap. Believe it or not. 34 representations, Magic Cylinder taking the top part with 10 representations. Very good, very good. I'm honestly surprised this card's still in the meta, considering the fact that we're playing in a format where a lot more stuff is happening during the main phase, a lot more removal, a lot more back row hate, just so much going on. Magic Cylinder is still just winning games. Can you believe that? Though the recent format, we did focus a bit more on main phase interruption. You know, Torrential Tribute was definitely a huge thing. Icarus Attack was also extremely huge, though it's a lot of the Harpy decks didn't show off their full deck, so once again, we had a low amount of Icarus. But as of right now, Battle Traps seem to be the main way to go about it. They just seem to work, and apparently everyone just misses. Along with that, we do have Negate Attack once again, and the Battle Phase, that's how it is. After that, we have 3 representations of Icarus Attack. Harpy Lady. It's a good control deck. This card is amazing for the deck. Tribute to Wing Beast, pop 2, incredible. Broken. This is... Harpy Lady still stands as the primary and realistically only deck that, as of the current moment, that really wants to fight during your opponent's main phase. Though, once again, that also depends on the build you're using, but that's all I realistically have to say about Icarus Attack. Then we have about 2 representations of Compulse Evacuation. Compulse is a bit of a up and down card at the moment. Since we're in a format where it's a lot of main deck focus, a lot of extenders, a lot of free summons and all that, Compulse has actually seen a lot less value in comparison to, oh, Grand Extreme Maximum Monster, or whatever, summon a Fusion Monster and all that. Activate my effect when it's, you know, on a normal summon monster. We don't have that much of any of those type of things as of right now, so Compulse is very much lower in the polls of the, or sorry, in the rankings, since we kind of are in a format where we can easily play through something like a Compulse. Like earlier we were talking about Red Eyes, where they have monsters that summon themselves, they're all extenders. Bouncing a monster back to hand is kind of dangerous at the current moment. Though if you're fighting against a deck and you know exactly when you want to activate it, Compulse can be a very powerful card. With that, we have one Representation Mirror Force and one Catastrophe. Not much to say about them. Of course, you're going to get a stray Mirror Force every now and then. Catastrophe is mostly played for Seller, for a free pop and add back a legend, but yeah, I'm very okay with how the Legend Trap lineup is. It's not too bad. I'm definitely very excited to see how it continues to evolve around the format. The fact that we're still in a sort of battle trap related format in terms of legend traps is really amazing, like, that people are able to make this work and choose to do this when there's so much happening in the main phase as of current game. But you know, if it works, it works, and I'm happy to see how it will continue later. Well, guys, that has been the or meta breakdown for January of 2024. Yay! In my final thoughts, I'm happy and a bit concerned. Though, of course, don't get me wrong, I'm very happy by the deck list. Like, sure, I say Yugi Boomer, Dream, and all that. It's honestly not that bad. Having a structure deck being like close to tier 1 at the current moment, and probably tier 1.5, good, that's good. Make very affordable cards, very affordable decks. Throw them out. You don't need to buy these already sold out cards like Legend Strike, which is apparently impossible to get in Japan right now, so that's probably why you're not going to see it in many deck lists. And you don't need these high expensive cards. Just, hey, a structure deck, cool, I love it. It's similar to TCG right now with Fire King. Love it. I love that in a format. I'm so happy that the structure deck is doing so well and it's getting so much representation. More of the showing that excavation cards from Red Eyes is becoming really good. Having a fusion deck currently in the format, very good, because fusions have been very lackluster as of recent, especially after the hit towards Sky Saver losing out on two other copies of CL, making their floodgate a little bit less consistent. That was a very big hit in terms of representation for fusions as a whole in Rush Duel. So Red Eyes coming in, taking that place is a bit more healthy. It's more battle phase focused, self-protection, all that, a lot of extenders, all that. So it's fine. That's what I'm saying. Harpy Lady, it's the maximum deck of the format. Love it. Even though you don't realistically maximum summon in Harpy Lady, sure. Hey, a maximum deck where the main effect comes from just normal summoning them. Perfect. Perfect. That's exactly what I want in a format, and I think that is perfect. This format is fantastic. Structure deck, a very fair fusion strategy, and then a maximum deck. You got all the cool, great things that you can get from casual play to very interesting matchups in the current format. Now, for most people, this is probably going to be seen as a little bit of annoying. I understand that. Harpy Lady could be a bothersome. Repetitively seeing blue eyes in every single duel, IRL, can be tiresome. Trust me, I've played against all these decks way too much. But I'm satisfied. And I hope y'all are satisfied as well. I'm very excited to see how the upcoming set affects the format with a lot of new legacy support and introduction of other cards. I hope Snipe Hunter becomes tier 0, because that would be funny. But anyway, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed. Don't know when I'll see the next meta update. Probably in 2 months with the release of the next ban list, more than likely, because releasing them after every set is a bit difficult since the meta is constantly updating and it's kind of difficult to keep up with updating it, and sometimes there's not big changes. So yeah, 2 weeks after the next ban list in 2 months, so after March, I believe. Yeah, after March, maybe in April. I don't know when the ban list is going to update. There was a post about it. I'll post another meta update. Yes, I hope y'all enjoyed, guys, and I hope this was very informative. Anyways, I'll see y'all next time.